Welcome to the Bespoke.FPV podcast. There's just so much great and fun stuff going on in the world. Thought I'd take a chance to get my friends on the phone and have a chat and share some footage of some great FPV RC car stuff. We'll be talking about any of the latest trends going on in the neighborhood or whatever we're working on. So it's just a time to connect and enjoy and do some sharing. Glad you could make it. I'm your host, Matt Horvat, and today's guest and my partner is Jipper, who you'd probably know a lot more about than me. So we're just having fun talking about parenting, our latest projects, what's going on in the industry, and of course, scheming to take over the world. And we hope you can join us and look forward to hearing from you. Keep up the good work, everybody out there. I love the thousands of people that are getting involved in this fun thing to do, and so we're just talking about it and enjoying ourselves as we're connecting. So thanks again for being here.
A little under the weather, or you got other stresses in life?
Oh my God, you're a parent. I mean, that's all I gotta say.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
No, it's all good. Actually,
I'm in the lull before the storm, I think.
nice. Glad to hear it.
Yeah, well, I mean, you got teenagers, right?
Just starting.
Yeah.
No, reminds me I've got a lot to be grateful for.
Yeah. Don't we? I mean, we got something to live for, right? Not just running around making ourselves happy for no reason. There's a purpose. There's a purpose now.
Yeah, right on. I've been thinking a lot about purpose lately.
Oh yeah. Like, what's the purpose? What the hell are we doing?
Is this the Mojave?
No, this is Slash.
I haven't seen the platform in my own eyes.
Let me listen.
Apologize.
Oh yeah. Oh, no problem.
That looks great. It's actually something.
Yeah.
It's a model I've really been curious about. I feel like this one is pretty versatile, all things considered.
The Slash?
Yeah.
Yeah, super versatile. I run it everywhere. I don't know, you can be super rough with it, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. I can go get parts like
Easy
at my local hobby shop. Yeah, it's super easy. So there's like no fear running the thing.
And you're still running it's still got the plastic shocks?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah, I rebuilt them. I upgraded the shock shafts, but
all right.
Generally they work good. And this was like a parts bin car. I converted it from what's it called? A Stampede, and then I bought the low CG set for it. And yeah, just been running it from there. It was my buddy's kid's car, and the kid lost interest, and I had borrowed it, and he's like, you know what? Just keep it. Like, we're not using it here. And I was like, seriously? And he was. He was serious. So here we are.
Great option for that second car that Chad was talking about last week. Really important to have.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
Speaking of which,
yeah.
Let's
see. What do you got?
How's your screen?
My screen is small but good.
Good.
I have a good view.
I wanted to.
What do you got?
Oh, let me quickly do a screen share here, which is going to totally mess up my recording.
Oh yeah, we should record.
I got a little drive time test in on the buggy version on that same little modular camera recording.
Oh.
So this is the same carbon plate with the VTX and HEQ gimbal mounted on it.
Oh yeah.
Just a different. This has got the Kyosho buggy platform then.
This is on the Kyosho.
Right.
Oh yeah, it's pretty low, eh?
Right.
But it looks great. Going fast.
My
Oh
body,
yeah.
my body is not well connected to the frame.
Oh no. So there's room for improvement.
Yeah, yeah. This is like really an alpha test run.
Yeah.
Uh,
Bonk.
I share a driveway with the neighbor.
Oh yeah.
I think that's the end of it.
It's working. The system's working.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I haven't really done anything with the extra channels in the receivers yet to
Oh yeah.
play with like so many different auxiliary options.
So what? It's the HEQ gimbal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can do like all the different pan, pitch, roll, all that stuff.
Well, there's a PWM channel, but I think
Yeah.
I can really easily pipe that to one of the motors.
Gotcha.
So I'm not sure if I want to do that on a dial or as part of steering control. I'm not really that interested in head tracking. I know you mentioned something about it attached to your controller, which intrigues me.
Yeah.
But
Well, yeah. I mean, that was a fun little option, but usually I don't use any head tracking at all. And I think people like people really want head tracking, but I'm not sure they know, you know, how it is or isn't used in like a fast gimbal RC application. You know, I think they're confused with seeing what the gimbal does for us automatically and assume that that's somehow head tracking. You know, but the gimbal is doing like 95% of the work, and we don't really need to put much input to it, in my opinion.
for sure, I mean that's why I'm doing these alpha tests because I get way as much enjoyment for just like not having it programmed, but there.
Yeah, I think it's super important to find out what you need or not, right? Like, do we need all this stuff? What stuff do we need? Because most people coming at it really have very little experience because, you know, it's
I'm
kind of a new
I'm
thing.
really loving to see how many people this is becoming accessible to.
Oh God, yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, I'm loving to see a lot of it just to like get the global perspective of their neighborhood, because everyone who's into like FPVRC, like they're like sharing where they live and what they do and what
Oh
stuff's
right,
like
right.
around them.
Just through like their videos or
100%.
yeah,
Yeah, but you want to know Pacific
just
Northwest, like follow us.
yeah, yeah.
But there was a guy in
Definitely
Indonesia, and
on the ground.
I've
You
seen him
know,
run around the hood.
yeah,
That's great.
yeah. It's funny. I can like sort of. I've gotten good at like finding, figuring out where people are. You know, and I can often like spot, especially the Pacific Northwesters. I'm like, oh yeah, that looks just like my place. You know, kind of a fun, bit of a fun like side or not side game, but fun game I play with YouTube is where is that person? You know, just always thinking about it a little bit.
Hmm. Yeah.
A lot of East Coasters.
Oh, really?
Well, yeah,
Hard to think
but
about them too much.
um,
Although, actually, a lot of my work's there.
oh yeah, yeah. I've definitely seen some people from the group and whatnot just getting into some really good ripping with these cars,
Mm-hmm.
and it's pretty exciting. I mean, this it's like okay, this is what I've been waiting for. You know, like this is what I wanted to see happen.
there are
Like
actually,
to have it all come round is like amazing.
yeah. I mean, to be honest, getting two or three good videos in a week is like a really fun community.
Hmm.
You know, I
Yeah,
work my ass off to get mine.
yeah, yeah.
And it's fun too. I was thinking about you the other day, like getting up early on a Saturday morning to go hit the FPV
Oh yeah,
spots.
yep,
And like I
yeah,
was exhausted and tired and like I was like this is I mean I worked hard just to get the yard shots I've been hitting.
yeah, yeah.
It's great.
I think that's probably the same boat for a lot of us. We're like exhausted from life, but also like motivated by just how fun this whole thing is, you know. And yeah, it's just a crazy obsession on some levels. I know that's what got me to where I am. I just get obsessed.
My dad was over for Thanksgiving and
Yeah.
I had a chance to show him the FPV crawler with the active suspension.
Oh yeah.
He gets into electronics too, having been an old ham radio operator from the 50s and 60s.
Oh right. Yeah.
He's a zealot, you know, seriously.
Yeah. The way do you think?
Well, after I got to explaining all the details of this thing, he called me a ham radio operator.
Oh yeah.
It was cool.
Like, son, you've made it.
Yeah. He didn't really
You
get
are.
much. I mean, he liked what I was doing, but it's not his interests.
Yeah. You can appreciate the technical challenge and stuff, I'm sure though.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, like I had this one out for a test run last night and it was like real dark, and whatever. Anyways, he's this dad and his daughter were exiting their school and they were like, "Oh, cool," blah blah blah. So I was just like tearing around, you know, showing them what the car could do. And the kid's like, she's like 8, she's like, "What's the thing on your head?" I was like, "Oh, that's like a video goggle, so I can see what the car's doing. Like, I can see through the car." And her eyes were just like went huge. She was like, "That's so cool." You know, I was like, "Oh man, yeah, the kids get it." Like it always resonates with me when a kid
Mm.
thinks it's cool because they're not like biased. They don't have the baggage. You know what I mean? So when they think it's cool, and they're not thinking about the cost or complication, they're just thinking that it would be cool to do that. You know what I mean? And across the board, like I've had, people generally think it's a good idea, and like the grown-ups understand right away. Like the dad was like, "Oh yeah, those are video goggles, so we can see what through the car, honey." He's like, "That's right, right?" He was like, "Yep." It's like totally an obvious idea to most people. They just don't understand the sort of challenges we face to make it happen effectively. You know? So yeah, it's exciting. Grab another. But yeah, I was uh, I was wondering who would be next ones to pick up on FPV cars. You know, I feel like RC people probably are pretty happy with the way they do their hobby, and
Mm-hmm.
there's gonna have to be like a watershed moment where we start winning them over. Like it's gonna have to.
Well, may
There's
I?
gonna have to be like a organized race league or something to win those guys over.
Not at all.
Don't think so? No.
Well, or at least there's a whole nother market that's unexplored with these kinds of devices.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Let me give it some ideas because it's untapped territory and we have possibilities in front of us that are unknown and unexplored for fun and
Yeah.
enjoyment. Imagine being in like a synchronized swimming league in FPVRC cars, and your controls are generated by a computer that runs some regressions to make sure stuff's on track and timed well. And there's times where you have control on your own to do enjoyment driving, and then times when the bot takes over to bring you back into synchronization with other people. And there's controls where there's no impacts in an environment that's pre well known already by the computer.
Yeah.
And so it could be like a whole group experience of real time driving with with no harm.
Yeah.
And all just run by a network of computers. So like that's a total possibility with this stuff.
Yeah. Well, you see like drone swarms.
Right.
They do drone swarms.
Yeah.
Like, no problem.
Have you seen the fireworks?
They're doing like all sorts of crazy stuff.
Mm-hmm. I bet we could set up a park for that kind of an experience.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I always go back to the business.
Yeah. That's what's going to maybe take it to the next level, Probably.
It'll be a corporate sponsor like Disney who can drop, 10 mil on a lab and a guy at 200,000 a year to do bullshit with a $5 million budget.
Well, like Lance down in Texas there, he's got his like Autoball thing, and he's now starting to set up like sim race cars with the wheels and seat and stuff. It's pretty wild. And I was like, dude, you need to get like a little ranch and have this thing take off, like do like offer like a race experience on RC cars, simulated with this wheel and pedals and stuff, and like a full setup, like a $3,000 RC setup. People would definitely pay to come do that. You know what I mean? I think they would. I would. I would do it for
sure. It is kind of hard to find that like right market where maybe we need Red Bull as their sponsor.
Yeah, that'd be cool. They sponsor so much stuff. It's insane. I don't know, man. All the extreme sports, they're very open-minded, to the new stuff. But
right now, I feel like if you build it, they will come with this market.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it's a new thing. Like it's been hardcore guys have been around for a while, but it's blowing up right now, and it's really fascinating to see where it's going to go. I just want to see someone like just do it really well, like like I just want like good YouTubes out of it, like someone who has the time and talent to make good videos and content and like focus on this aspect of the hobby. And I'd love to see it. I mean, I guess we've talked about this before, like no one's going to do it for us. But someone eventually will do it better, I think. I mean, I don't have the time or whatever to do that stuff. I just like running my cars and wanted to share like how I just thought it was kind of funny that no one had tried this stuff before with Gimbal. So I thought it made it such a better experience.
I totally want to find time to do production management on all this stuff.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. I mean, it's
so rad, this experience.
It's a different side of it for sure. And I love having the videos done. Even once I get into like 50% done on a video, it starts to get to be exciting to watch. And even some of my crummier videos, like I'll rewatch them like 15 or 30 times because I don't know, like either I'm amused by my own work or like I just enjoy it on some level. I'm not sure. Not sure. I don't know why really, but I do end up doing that quite a bit.
It's all about learning.
I guess so.
It's totally nice to have the time to do that.
Yeah. My last one there, I don't know if you saw it, the one where I just talked about the GM2. Like I cranked that out in I don't know, like 0 time at all. I went and ran the car while my kids were watching cartoons. Came back and just, I think I have like a format now that I go with. So
Automatic uploads is the way to be.
what's that?
Automatic uploads is the way to be.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess my point is they're getting to be less work sometimes. I lost a part for this. Oh no, I didn't. I'm a dummy. All right, put it on.
Hey man, you're hardcore there with like a hardwood table, no drop cloth or anything.
I never lose stuff. I'll lose something today, probably. I may misplace it for several days.
The most important thing I've found to help me in this hobby is a pill container.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's totally durable, and it's just multi-purpose. You can just keep using it for different projects ongoing.
Yeah.
Great. You got to maintain the cleanup.
I use yogurt tubs, like tons and tons of yogurt tubs, and what is it? Egg cartons. Like just with the 12 little pockets. I mean, pretty basic. What do you got? So this is the old axles. These are the MIP flash axles. They're like solid tool steel. They're insane.
Yeah, right on.
They're coming out though. They're so heavy. I can't do it anymore with those. And the way they fit together, there's kind of some like wiggle in the sliding section. So what ends up happening is, where's an example? Is it kind of like goes off center and then it just vibrates a ton.
Binds up a little bit.
Well, not bind up, but because there's some wiggle in it, it's like flopping up and down. Like it's not perfectly straight. And because there's so much mass there, they end up causing a lot of vibration. And they're just too heavy, honestly. Just totally unnecessary. I got them for free. I didn't pay them. So I'm putting in stock Traxxas ones now. They probably weigh like a third as much.
Is it plastic over plastic?
Yeah, they're all plastic except for the universal things.
Yeah, it's pretty strong.
They last. Yeah, they do great. I have some spare parts anyways if they don't. So that was my idea. I don't know why. Just trying to eke out all the performance. It's fun tweaking on this little.
What kind of a motor and power system is that thing running? Is this the 540T with the brushed VXL?
This one has a VXL brushless motor and just a Surpass Hobby ESC in it.
Okay.
So like a 150 amp. Actually a 6S ESC in it. It's really big. Probably overkill, but and actually the problem with it is it can't really run 2S very well.
It's a 3S
So
rig then.
yeah, so I'm always running it on 3S pretty much, and I've got it geared like pretty low, and it gives me a good runtime. It's not like stupidly fast or nothing, but it's
Have
quick.
you have you changed the
It's
pinion
quick.
and spur gear beyond stock?
Just lowering the gearing mostly, like making it slower
Ah,
because I'm running like across grass fields or on like short tracks where it's a lot of like, accelerate, brake, turn. So for me, slowing it down was the way to go on this one because the motor was getting scorching hot.
is
So it's like,
the
okay, well, this is too
okay?
much. So
Are they both is the spur gear plastic or metal?
plastic,
Wow.
48 pitch. The Slash is kind of magic because, it's one of their cheaper cars, and the brushed one, there's almost no difference in the transmission between the brushed and the brushless one.
Yeah.
So when you buy, you find any of them, you can put 3S power in it, and it does fine. You know, like this transmission's mega old,
Cool.
and was run by my buddy's kid, and kids aren't easy on things, and then it was run by me
Mm.
for ages on 3S and whatever,
Yeah, this is
and
actually
it's
what
run
one of
just
your old
fine.
platforms with the original. Like, is this what you were
Yeah.
using when you wrote up that post on RC groups about how you were going to do FPV in a land rig?
Uh, this is maybe this was like the first generation of roll bars I put together.
So it
And
wasn't your first build.
this one probably goes back like 2 years or so to the first Dandelion Desert video. I think this roll bar was in that car. And it just so happens, that was a four-wheel drive car, but it just so happens that the two-wheel drive and four-wheel drive have the same chassis width. So I just adapted it when I put this one together. And here we are.
Yeah.
So I'd like to have a more, I don't know, elegant mount, I guess, but can't really complain when this one does the job. So
Mm.
I don't know.
What do you think about doing some problem solving around tapping into some of these signals into a database to be running AI regression analysis on it to figure out driving and controllability?
Oh, I have no idea about how you do that. We'd have to like record control inputs and and
Hey,
the resulting car driving, but that sounds like a big challenge for sure.
and totally possible.
I think it's doable.
I mean, actually, it's
I don't
probably
know
already
if it's
been done.
doable by me, but
Yeah.
someone could do it.
Yeah.
I mean, would you need a flight? Maybe it's just as easy as put a flight controller on the car. You know?
If Chad was in this conversation, we'd know.
Yeah.
It's
But
fun stuff.
I'm still excited just to see the day when someone else in my group or local general area, decides they want to go go all the way with the FPV car, because then we'll be racing. And like all my buddies are like, "Oh yeah, that's sweet, man." I'm like, "So if you want to help putting one together,
You
just
know,
hit me up."
okay.
And they're like, "Yeah," and then but
Wait a second. I got this. This has sparked an idea that we can do a realistic challenge. All that
yeah,
stuff I've been talking about before, I get it. It's a bullshit wash, like what I was talking about. What
yeah,
we might be able to pull off with technology that would be super cool is
yeah, yeah.
like we could remote into these cars.
Oh right, that's like the Cloud RC system. Have you seen Cloud RC?
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, we got to check them out. I wish we could like watch stuff you know, like if we had a TV, we could watch stuff. But yeah, look at Cloud RC on YouTube. 'Cause they've got like a 5G, like they've got it over the mobile networks.
Okay.
Control, video, signal back and forth. So you can buy their equipment and do your own car, or you can sign into their thing and drive one of their cars in
Wow.
China. Yeah,
In China.
in the middle of China. Yeah,
Nice.
there's this great. It's like kind of a rural place, but they're always operating out of this town, and yeah. So like I was telling you, I like trying to find these places, right? Well, I think they're in because I have a Chinese coworker. I was like, Long, you got to help me out. Where are these guys? And he thinks they're in Jinan province in China. But yeah, they got like a whole app and it's a whole thing, and you can drive their cars.
Well, here's what I'm thinking. That little mobile transferable module that involves all the normal shit we've been talking about forever. It
Yeah,
it involves like social networking, so that
yeah,
when it's produced, you end up having a paired buddy system like the PlayStation, whatever,
right.
for what you're doing, and then we
Yeah,
could probably get sales in the orders of 10,000s.
interesting.
So it does need platform development and an app and a social network like whole capability. This means sponsorship through Azure, scholarship funds, and
Yeah,
Amazon's got one too. So like all the players are in the space to support entrepreneurs.
you've got the big ideas tonight. Oh my gosh.
I mean, I'm trying to, like I told you, I'm going back to the business. I can't be involved in this without being so curious on what's possible. I mean, I love this
Yeah,
stuff, but my mind is wired to like solve problems. So sorry.
yeah. Oh no, no apologies.
I've been searching since I met you the first time. Like,
Yeah.
what is so ripe about this? Because this is amazing stuff.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
mean, don't get me wrong. It's not going to solve all the world's problems, but
But
it's big.
yeah, how can we share? How can the experience get shared with others? You know what I mean? And I think it's interesting that we do see a model where it works, like this Cloud RC group. You know, like they've got. We have an example now of a way that it's being done, and I mean, it's quite entertaining. First of all, the videos they make because their drivers are crazy. I think there's a lot of lag in the control, and some of them are just driving off like a smartphone screen, right? So there's a lot of crashing and a lot of like
What?
vehicle recovery. Like they've got to roll a car back over, or
I
a car
mean,
falls down a ditch, and then they can use like a radio to talk out of the car. So she's like, hey, pick me up. Hey, look down here. Can you pick me up? And then some random person like picks them up. Or she's always
okay.
calling them her uncle. So I'm not sure if that's just like a friendly uh, term that they use for like,
Might be.
or if it's literally her uncle who's like out to search for it.
It's
Because I think
possible.
there is, the operators in a big city somewhere, and the car is in this remote town.
Wow. It is a good
So
business model.
yeah,
What's the keyword search to how to find these guys on YouTube?
Cloud RC.
Cloud RC.
Yeah, it's pretty entertaining. I think it could be done like better. Like it almost gets to how like there's a lot of these FPV car channels where they're like kind of just pranking people. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Like
Hmm.
they're just like, or like they're what they do is like drive to interact with people, and kind of a funny way of doing it, you know. Like I kind of lost my train of thought there, but
And
I
just,
think it would be much more entertaining than what those people are doing. They're kind of like kind of interesting because they're like running deliveries. Like they're like, oh, let's go feed the dogs today. So they get their truck, their RC, and like put a bowl of dog food on the back. Then they're trying, like it's like a mission, right? They're trying to drive it to the dog, and obviously they don't want to roll or spill the food or whatever, and they gotta not get lost. And
yeah,
so they'll
okay.
send a few cars, to support each other on the whole mission, and the whole thing's just pretty entertaining. And actually, what the operator has is this like big seat with the hydraulic pistons, and it's like pitching and rolling in response to what the car is doing. It's crazy. I've never seen that like before on any sort of RC system. That's like I've seen that in video games and uh, Sims and stuff, but yeah, never.
No, you can buy that online from Texas for 25 or 50,000 for sure.
Well, I think the tough part is getting the signal back from the car about how it's moving, and like that's one thing I'd love to see is like a feedback system that would like we were talking about this the other week where it would like rumble your controller or whatever, like haptic feedback.
Mm-hmm. Well, honestly, you're talking about signal and integrated circuit design. It's like if you want to get involved with designing a noise canceling headphones, it's that kind
Right.
of circuitry we're talking about building.
Yeah.
Totally possible and not complex and quite accessible for people on gig platforms to utilize well-known software for programming that will be allowed to be procured through hardware open source vendors for like printed circuit boards. I mean, that's why we can buy the Storm 32 for like $25, just because there's
Yeah.
manufacturers that build that shit for cheap. It's not expensive.
Yeah.
It's just the design work in electrical engineering that needs to be tight for functionality. But I mean, I'm impressed. The Arduino board is doing a great job on the suspension for that
Oh
crawler.
yeah. It's like very quick and responsive, eh?
And the startup mode, the startup time is like nil.
Oh right, eh?
So it's a quick reset for it to be back on the money.
Yeah.
All the dials are right there on board with nice fitting controls of variability. It runs the same three derivative
Right. Yeah.
dampening
PID,
technology
right?
as the Storm 32.
Yeah.
It's been fascinating, and I like so excited about it because DS&M. It was so much fun to like kind of like really feel it because on
Mm.
when you're programming a gimbal, it's hard to get the kind of feedback to know how you're doing it. You got to move the whole like car around or chassis or like setup
Right.
for like good
Yeah.
tuning. But yeah, it's fun to like push and roll
Oh
the
man.
TRX4 to like feel how it's moving, and you can see all four servos like tweaking together.
Yeah. Oh, I think I'd just get lost just looking at that thing. Watching it like roll over bumps and body roll and stuff. That'd be so cool.
So yeah, I geek out on the math of all this. Really,
It's amazing. Yeah. Yeah.
it really
I
is
can't. I
exciting.
can't. I think for the first like couple of years, or well, up until now on Storm 32, most of the time I just can't believe it even works at all. You know what I mean? Like, how does it do it? Like how is this working this well?
Yeah.
Right? It's just crazy to me.
Yeah, to think about it, I don't know if it's 360 or 700 times a second. It's the clock. It's the clock speed of all that happening.
Yeah, yeah. And how does it like it reacts faster than you can see it? You know, how does it even feel stuff that fast?
Oh, and all that we're talking about right now is in analog megahertz, whereas the
Yeah,
actual horsepower of much of what's going on in this experience is digital.
right. Okay, what does that mean though? I don't understand.
Well, it bandwidth is differently kind of utilized.
Okay,
It's still a radio signal.
it might be. You like talking smart stuff, and I'm like hammering on a car with the back of a screwdriver. Just need this part
No,
to come on.
it's perfect. You know what? That's what it's all about. And in fact, if we were ever to like pull off a pilot on these crazy ideas, it would have to
Yeah,
require like one person who is proficient in all this stuff, and like
yeah.
it would have to be that network of people to launch it, because otherwise, people will get lost. You can't repair a car. You can't be involved in this
Oh man.
pilot.
Yeah, no.
So that's the market audience, is like people who are willing to pilot new technology. Is like that's our market segment, and I bet there's still 10,000 of those guys within arm's reach.
Well, Hardwell was just saying the other day, you know, someone was like, "Is FPV ever going to be easy to get into?" They were talking about drones, of course, because that's what FPV is to them. But he's like, "No, I don't really see it ever changing. It's always going to be complicated because we're like on the edge of technology or something."
Well,
I was like, "Well,
here's
I'll tell
my
you right now, cars are easy slash difficult in a different way, but like, you know, a 13-year-old can put together a slash for sure.
good point.
You know, so maybe
All the skills that we're talking about can totally be owned by a young
well,
teenager.
you got to put a bunch of different stuff. Like it takes a bunch of different like programming a complex remote. You know, okay, well maybe they won't get that part, but I mean, most kids are pretty good with technology, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
my
know,
nephew's high school could totally handle a program like this.
oh man, like
They,
a tech
yeah, well, they do like
program.
robot wars quite a bit.
Oh my god, that stuff's way more complicated.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if
That
they put their
stuff's
mind to it,
way
this would be
more
easy.
complex.
Totally
Yeah,
easy.
RC cars is like a joke. Oh, you just plug this into that and that into this?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Reverse servo, maybe.
Buy it.
You know?
Buy an Arduino unit online and stick it to the box.
Yeah.
Do screws. It's fine.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's kind of like
Well, if in 2 years, if we don't see anything change, let's like do a Kickstarter.
okay,
Great.
and
Thanks. I've
try
got
and
your
what
agreement
do
now.
the like. I'm with you, not fighting you. I'm fighting you. Yep, and if I could like do this instead of my regular job, I'd be having way more fun. Help some kids do some RCs. Hell yeah. I mean, teach them how to use an exact. Oh, I got it, buddy. Damn spacer.
Changing on axles is no joke.
I do not like these. You can put this in the thing. I don't think you need MIP axles for a slash two-wheel drive. Don't do it. Wouldn't be pretty.
Is that the same company that makes these great like screwdrivers?
Yeah, they're like a high. They're known as being like a high precision
Oh.
sort of company, and they do like you know, they're building stuff out of like high grade steel. Like it's a great axle.
Yeah, sure. I mean, if
It's
I was
just
going to put in a hobby wing
not
and
what
turn
I
this,
need here, right?
if I wanted to turn this into a 6S like slash,
Yeah,
those would be great.
yeah, exactly. It's just I just it's just not for my application. You know, that's that's the trick of it, kids. You
Well,
gotta know what you
you should
need.
ship those axles down to Portland and let me put those in a slash. I'd love to build a 6S
Hey,
slash.
I'll mail them to you.
Ah,
Want to go
well,
crazy on a slash?
no, I
Let
don't
me
actually
know.
right now. But I will tell you that the DC to DC step up voltage converter from the 2S to the 3S has been
Yeah,
working great.
it's working great, eh?
Yeah, all
And
the
it's just a
video
little
footage.
thing, or what?
Sorry, what?
It's just a little thing, right? It was like a $5 part.
Yeah, yeah, $5 part for sure. I mean, it's like kind of robust as far as printed circuit boards with components that are big
Oh
enough
yeah.
to handle a little
So it's not.
power.
So it's not like small.
No, it's not like a PCB with like tiny surface mounted stuff or chips.
Right.
It's got some heat that's being generated within,
Oh yeah.
but um, no trouble so far.
That's good.
Now it's October and it's cold.
Job done. Yeah. And what one is it running in? Oh, it's on your like swappable one, right?
Right, which is the Kyosho buggy and the
Yeah.
TRX4.
Oh right. What is it called?
I've got so much more to explore with the additional channels on this equipment. Let me tell you more about the TRX4. It's got the
Yeah.
Hobby Wing FOC.
Oh yeah. The fusion thinger?
Right,
No, the axe. You got the axe.
right. So it'll allow me to adjust drag brake rate and like endpoint on drag brake from the
Yeah.
controller. Which I mean, I'm not like I need to actually set up some pretty hardcore down trails for using this
You know,
equipment.
it makes it so much more interesting than just like forward, backward, left, and right, though. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
it just adds, it's just another thing to play with, right? And that's what kind of we're all about here, like it, it's fun and it helps and it makes it a more enjoyable experience, then then it's a good thing, basically. That's my perspective.
That's it.
I'd love to do more stuff like that. Oh, did I lose it?
It reminds me of the most valuable tool in my bench is a pair of tweezers.
Handy. I'm doing like keyhole surgery here. This thing. Oh, now I lost it. I see it. Maybe I ought to magnetize this thing. Um, yeah, that's like why I installed the handbrake on the Mojave. I don't know how many more chances I'm gonna get before this thing's really gone. Because it's like it just was another thing to sort of experiment with, and just give more depth to the driving experience. And the thing is, too, I use it a lot. Like not all the time. It's not always the right tool for the job, but definitely sometimes it is a huge help. I got it for
Good work.
real. Yeah. Oh, woo! Thank you. Thank
They're kind of yeah. I
you.
mean,
That
like all
actually
this stuff's
screwed
a
it
pain
in.
in the ass. Yeah, I've got a 28 scale like on hold because like I don't want to get so involved in tiny parts again. Jeez.
Oh man, yeah,
I'm excited about running
yeah.
this rig. I really am. It's gonna be great. Super tight and lightweight.
Are you talking like mini Z or
Yeah.
one of the crawler cars?
No. Mini Z. It's that
Maybe.
size. It's not Kyosho. It's not a Mini Z. Manufacturers out of I suppose Vietnam are doing a great job with precision car development.
Night buddy. Well, you know why, right?
Hmm.
Because they're so tiny over there. Okay, we got
Oh,
to edit that part out.
yeah.
That's just a bad joke.
No worries.
Obviously bad joke.
Let's see here.
My true colors come out. I
Gosh, I've been.
figure, if we're just building up a backlog of material,
Yeah.
that's fine. You know, in the PvP, player versus player battles, I could just like hold one button down and it would basically just go through my commands and it would do exactly what I needed to do. I was just like, you know, top guy on damage by double, etc.
Nice.
It was good. I was a legend.
What's going on
Uh,
with the
but
slash right now?
well, I found the drive pins in the hexes,
Oh,
so
right
now
on.
I'm just gonna put those
You get ready for your bald tires to be reinstalled
on.
for
They're
cushion,
seasoned.
and
Just
multi-purpose traction. There's nothing that goes with everything better than bald.
yeah, it's just the street running. Like I'm always running 50% street, 50% dirt, and I just don't want to. I just don't have tires for it. I can show. You want to see my favorite set of tires that have lasted the longest? I'm gonna show you whether you
All
want to see them
right.
or not. Okay. These puppies here.
Hmm. Yeah, they look in good shape.
Yeah, they do better on road than off road, but man, they have lasted like so long. So maybe I should get another pair of them.
Are these the stock Mojave tires?
No, no, these are cheap. Cheap.
Yeah.
I don't know, AliExpress or whatever. Mix Racing. I don't know, but they've got this tread pattern, this sort of like diagonal bar
Good
tread pattern,
stuff.
and they've done pretty good everywhere. On the street, they're super fun. They slide nice, and you don't have to worry about like
Uh-huh.
just absolutely trashing them immediately.
Is that the 6S four-wheel drive?
That's the 4S Fenton, and it's absolutely ludicrous.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super fun. I've got it. What I want to do with that is race my buddies 4S Typhons with it because
Mm-hmm.
they've got a few of them. And when I raced the Mojave, when I raced Mojave versus Typhon, the Mojave is 6S and much bigger and much heavier than
Mm-hmm.
those Typhons. So this will be more on par on size and power. So it'll be fun to beat them with that. The Mojave, when it like gets a Typhon in front of it, I can't really see them because they're so low, and it will just go straight over them.
Yeah.
Like you just drive over them and you don't even notice. It's the funniest thing. Anyways, it's really
Right.
fun. I haven't raced much with those guys lately, but hopefully we get to get back at her. I've
I
been figuring out all sorts of stuff on my transmitter. Like I found the lap timer and
right on.
well the lap timer, and then just I've refined my setup on the M2, so I'm a bit better at that now. So that's good. I really like this Radio Link stuff. Radio Link radios.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's a
They're
good
just
platform to work with. I
yeah.
want to explore some options on succeeding with the goal of you driving a rig at my house.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, we need to set up something where I could just like tell you what to control. That's step one. So
Well, I
just have
mean,
a
come on.
conversation.
Come on. Let's like make it a little bit more technology than that. But let's
Okay, so you
explore. I mean,
want me
I
to?
want to explore this and get curious using some AI technology to help me get smart about amateur radio like options. But
Imagine that. It would be the longest range drive ever
aren't you
over like ham radio.
aren't you an
That'd be
amateur radio operator
insane.
like legit?
No, no, no.
Okay, I am.
Oh, you are.
Yeah. I mean, I've got like the technician's license, which does not require Morse code knowledge,
Right.
but I can run 2 meters, and that's I think like 10 watts or 20 watts.
Okay. There we go. Not sure how much weight I saved, but bunch.
I wonder how the super scale model would fit something as high speed and like bumpy as that kind of a ride.
As like a slash
Yeah,
on the super scale.
yeah, it'd be fun to put. I mean,
Oh, that'd be
you may need to
super
run
interesting.
a high voltage
You
BEC for the to power it.
you'd need some beefy servos.
Well, I mean, 25 kilogram, 30 kilogram.
Jeez, I don't know.
The TRX4
Can't be much
suggests.
more than that. I mean, you're only really fighting the spring, right? So as long as you're strong enough to deal with the spring being compressed all the way, that's all the force that's really gonna. Unless you really screw it up, but you could put like, yeah,
I'd love to try it.
it'd be interesting to see what it would do. I mean, imagine if you could use it to lean your car into the corners. You know,
Right.
what if you just used it as a strictly performance helping thing rather than any sort of scaleness or realness? You know,
Hmm.
essentially active suspension.
When we
I mean,
get kick started, we can hire designers to incorporate that kind of programming really easily into the
that'd be neat.
system.
It'd be super neat.
But
We'd get banned right away, but we'd be way faster. So
that would involve like high dollar product. Like that would be like a two or $3,000 slash, ticket to
oh
entry.
yeah. You know, um, one. Have you ever heard of this like drone racing race gal thing?
Hmm. Tell me what's
The
the
way they set it up is they establish a course, and then whoever wants to participate lays this course out for themselves, and they just run laps and record it with their FPV system, and then compete that way. And it's kind of like one of the more straightforward ways to remotely, race and do RC with people. So I was
engage
thinking
in
about doing,
some? It sounds like engaging in some pretty intense competition.
yeah, I mean, all for fun, of course, but I was thinking about, it'd be super easy to do something like that with FPV RC cars as well, or even not FPV, but let's face it, FPV cars are more fun. Um, all we need is a common layout, and I was thinking like a tennis court or a basketball court with all the line work, they're all like established dimensions, would be an easy thing to work off of.
Hmm.
Do that. What do you think of
Interesting
that idea?
idea.
Yeah. Then people just record their runs and submit them, and then with the timer or whatever, you just use the fastest. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Still, there'd be a lot of back end development on the social networking app and platform to run the
Well,
community.
yeah. Just even like me and you could just race. You know.
Well, if we start there, then we'll be billionaires.
Think so?
Yeah, I totally do. I'll tell you a story about that. I had done some traveling in college. Grateful to have had the opportunity when I was in my young 20s to go to Mediterranean and see Athens, Greece.
Oh yeah, lovely.
For sure. It's
What
like
an experience.
10 weeks, 12 weeks, and on most weekends we do bus rides to incredible sites or trips to the islands to stay in hotels and eat calamari and drink Heineken.
Let's go. I'm
Yeah.
ready. You don't want to go to Athens again with me? Give me a trip, a road trip.
I was so immersed in that memory that I forgot why I was speaking about it.
Uh, talking about a billionaire. We were gonna make $1 billion.
Oh, so anyway, thank you for that. In response to that trip, afterwards, I got back to college, which was like I don't know, 98, 98, 99, something like that.
Yeah.
And I had a website for a while, and I've been doing a lot of like hacking on AOL, and made a website that involved a pictorial view of my creativity, which you could link into and communicate and see these photos as kind of like a drill in map of what I was about. And then I started using a bulletin board service to do comments per photo on these photos so I could share them with my friends that I went with to like have discussions for an ongoing memory of these different experiences we had together.
Mm-hmm.
And I designed like this, like it was like a repetitive bulletin board system that was not used for any reason besides just like it was like a bulletin board for like communicating about your online game. It's like a normal
Right.
open source application, but in doing that program per picture, then there could be a comment thread on the photo. So I designed and developed this system, and then got and it deployed it. Honestly, my friends have it, and we did that. Honestly, that was real.
Yeah.
That was a real thing. But I got distracted with
Right.
life, and then 10 years later or 5 years later, like Facebook comes out, and it's all the same shit I was doing ages ago.
Right.
So if we pursue this, perhaps we'll be billionaires. But I'm pretty sure being on my ass doing nothing will not get there. Tried that.
I'm still doing that. I excel. I excel with that. But what if we had like a website where we could like define the course and then people could submit their runs, and automate the whole thing. And then, that site could probably make a bit of money in advertising and whatever else and host a forum, you know. I mean, that's not very far fetched, I think.
No, actually, that sounds very straightforward and appealing to 30% of the people doing this hobby
You
and
know,
every.
we wouldn't even have to post the videos ourselves. We just need a link to YouTube, basically.
Have to narrate about it and talk about it every week to actually be involved in America's Funniest Home Videos.
Yeah, and then we could like, every week, people who are interested, like if we could just like pull up the top runs of the week and see, watch them live and chat about them and shoot shit
You
and
know
talk
what?
FPV.
I think that the 2-year plan, depending on what the situation is, we go for kickstarting. I'm down with that. That's actually about when I pay off my house from a personal perspective.
Yeah.
And so I could maybe have a little bit more financial freedom that I'm not willing to compromise given security at the moment. And, a fair bit of uncertainty in geopolitical environment we find ourselves thrown into. Glorious year of 2024. Thank you. 40,
Yeah.
47, 49.
Yeah, that could be a thing. Again, don't know how to do any of it, but
I think though that we can make the
pretty
goal that
reasonable.
within 2 years we have a open source way to drive cars at each other's houses.
That'd be pretty good.
Yeah, let's start this mission, tonight on that being the goal, like a 2-year plan on remote FPV. Hmm.
I consider it.
Yeah,
I'm
maybe
a little
like
scared to commit to it
yeah,
though.
yeah, yeah. Maybe committing's too early right now, but maybe like commit to commit, and that's not a fully functional thing. We might run into tons of
Yeah,
barriers. ChatGPT could help.
yeah.
I don't have much funds.
I just wonder where my passion really lies with the hobby.
Hmm.
And if it's out of alignment with that, then it's
True. Hard
I
to
don't
come
want
by.
to say I don't want to say I'm gonna do something when I'm
Yeah.
not gonna do it.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to go off in the deep end with technology that's inaccessible.
Yeah,
Like that wouldn't be the direction that really like I want something that people can do that, don't have
I
the
kind of like
resources I have.
I kind of like the grassroots approach. Like we're seeing prices on all the electronics coming down. Like if we could start like just a race league for this stuff is kind of
Oh.
what I'm leaning towards. Like if at first remotely, then if it gets to be big enough, then like in person. You know, that's kind of what I've always wanted is people to
Hmm.
race with, and if it's gonna take its sweet time to be for real in person,
Oh.
then over you know then racing the same course in different locations will is the next best thing, I figure.
I've got a great idea. The guy that runs the Mini Z National like timing circuit tracks for points was a club member here in Portland and moved to Salt Lake.
Yeah.
And so has all the technology with transponders and online, timing submissions and
Mm-hmm.
social media that goes with it. It would be really easy to adapt that to FPV.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be easy to talk to this guy about talking to him about what the possibilities would be to do that kind of thing. Like all it would take is probably like a video share kind of add function to the software, for some beginning pilot level open source low commitment kind of like low code kind of options for development,
Mm-hmm.
just to like kick it out there and see what happens. Like that's like a lightweight 2-week job that might turn into 6 months, but totally possible.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really
Good,
impressed.
good ideas.
Yeah, right
Maybe
on.
we wrap her up here.
Good stuff.
Lots to think about.
Yeah, and thanks for acknowledging earlier my level of tiredness, man. Really nice to
Oh,
talk. Really nice to talk to you,
yeah.
Jean Paul.
No, yeah, you mentioned that at the outset, so I'm glad to get a hold of you today, and always enjoy chatting with Matthew.
Thank you, my friend.
Okay, we'll do it again in a couple weeks.
You bet. And
Okay,
for
brother.
now, thanks for working on that
Yeah,
slash. It looks great.
thanks, brother.